Achievement and Teaching Banquet. It's always a privilege for me to be here to honor our academic leaders and also to honor our teachers and parents who contributed to the success of these students. Also, I would always want to mention that in 1964 I graduated from Mooresville High School, and I know you have Kleenexes tonight, and don't want to make it any worse, but I have to tell you that just a week from Saturday I will be handing you your diploma, and I look forward to that because I will be welcoming you as a fellow alumnus of Mooresville High School, and that's always a treat for me as superintendent, as someone who's been here as principal, assistant superintendent, and superintendent, and graduated from Mooresville High School. So I look forward to that. But that's a week from Saturday, so sit back, relax, enjoy yourself tonight. Every year we have an annual appreciation dinner for our staff. And I always say this line, as maybe you heard before, that I had the responsibility that night. I had the responsibility for a $25 million budget, over 4,000 kids, close to 500 employees, but none of that has the pressure of trying to decide who eats first. And Mr. Mustin put that on me tonight. I really appreciate that. And I don't know any better way to do it other than that Mr. Mustin did give me a little bit of an out because he said he has to come up here as soon as we're done eating and be the first one up here, so he needs to be the first one to eat. So don't blame me, blame Mr. Mustin. But we will start in the back at Mr. Mustin's table, and I just happen to be sitting at that table. That was solely a coincidence. And then, I don't know, the tables are just kind of mingled around. It's hard to say what row anybody's in, so just kind of toward the back, start moving, and don't push or shove or anything else, and we'll get it done. We want to start our evening, though. We'd like to pray together, and to lead us in prayer, we have Catherine Pascal. And Catherine, if you could come up, and as soon as Catherine's done, then we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Mustin's table and eat.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for the opportunity that you've given us this evening to come and recognize the people who made a difference in our lives. Father, I just pray that you watch over us this summer as we go throughout our activities and guide us as we go to school next year. I pray that you'll just bless the hands that prepare this meal. In your name I pray. Amen.
Catherine did a better job than I did. Maybe she'll be superintendent someday. Okay, we'll start with Mr. Mustin's table, and then just everybody do that way.
It's pretty loud. Pretty much.
Kiss those pictures That's something.
obstinate person that I am, here we are. Sure.
Kathy has a hard time keeping her fingers. I don't know if you have ever seen her pictures, but she's always got her fingerprint.
Good evening. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I know the Gagers are desperately waiting for that dessert, but we need to go ahead and get started. My name is Chuck Mustin, and I'm the assistant principal at the high school, along with Jerry Brown and our building principal, Mr. O. He's the big guy that calls the shots there in the building. And being a person with less experience, you know why I'm up there. But it is my honor and my pleasure here to recognize some people here who have dedicated themselves to academic excellence, striving for excellence, and working very, very hard, not only in the classroom, but within the community. And we really appreciate that. So this is just one small way that we can show a token of our appreciation for the top 20 students in this graduating class. So for the next couple hours, we hope that you'll sit back. We hope you'll enjoy the program. It's going to be focused on 20 kids here who are going to be positive, productive people, not just in the community of Mooresville, not just in the state of Indiana, but in this country and across the world. So listen to their words, and we hope that you enjoy what they have planned. And we hope that you appreciate all that they've done. I know they have some special things planned for you. There are some things that I would like to say first. There are a lot of people that I would like to thank. I don't know where to begin, and I know certainly I'm going to leave some people out, but I feel obligated to at least recognize some people. First of all, I would like to thank the Lord for just bringing me to Mooresville. You know, I've been at 5 different high schools. I feel like a troubadour educator. And so those of you that teach with me, work with me, know that I kind of have a sixth sense of humor. And I'm a little short guy, so I will use that to my advantage tonight. I told Mitch to be prepared, because I've been waiting for those short people. So Jennifer, Ash, wherever you're at, you're in trouble. But I'd like to thank my wife, Kim, first of all, publicly, because I don't get that opportunity. She's a special lady. We're going to be married here 18 years, June 3rd. And for all the late nights and the cold meals and reading to the kids at night, she does a wonderful job and has really supported me in everything I've done. And I appreciate that, so I wanted to thank her publicly. Thank you, Kim. I can't forget my 2 kids. They're CJ and Megan. A lot of the kids that talk with me know that I love to brag about them. They're special little people to me, and hopefully someday you'll get to know them. But they too have had to suffer without their dad from time to time for whatever reason. And I appreciate them and wish them good luck in their soccer game and their softball game tonight. Mr. Gatz and I are missing our girls' softball game, so we're watching the clock. We started at 7:30. We're 2-0, by the way. That's important to us. But I want to thank CJ and Megan. I want to thank the school board tonight for their participation. We appreciate all they've done for us, and without people like school board members, we wouldn't be able to achieve this particular program. We appreciate their support. Central Office, Mr. Roberson, Mr. Freeman, Mr. Leffler, we appreciate all they do. Mr. Roberson, of course, gave a greeting, and I'll be sure to talk to him about that serving thing. I'll do my best, but you have to remember, he's my big boss, so I'll try to be careful. Mr. Oberholzer and Mr. Brown, of course, are 2 colleagues that have really guided me, and I appreciate all the guidance they've given me, and I appreciate all the support they've given me, and I just want to thank them. The guidance department have played a very important part here and a vital role in the success of the kids. And I would like to recognize the guidance department. Of course, Lon Milburn, who is the head of our guidance department, couldn't be here tonight, but Beth Henry, Keith Hill, and Dan Haven. So I appreciate them attending tonight. Without students, you can't go anywhere. But we want to thank the teachers for all their support and all their input. They really do. They have committed their lives to education. You go to a show, you go to the mall, you go to a game, you go to a contest, you go to a play. Doesn't matter where you go, you're always thinking, what can I do to make things just a little bit better in my classroom? So it's become a way of life. And we're not able to, as you know, we're not able to pick and choose our raw product. It's pretty difficult. So we take what we've got and we try to make the very best of it. And tonight you're going to see the cream of the crop here. And we appreciate the teachers, and I thank the teachers. Parents, appreciate your support. Some of you I know working with you on post-prom. It's been a real delight, a real joy. I've enjoyed working with you. I hope you've enjoyed working with me, because I hope to be around for a while. But I do appreciate your support, and I know that your kids appreciate your support. As I've met with them, I certainly don't see them as much as I do some of the other kids, but we've met a couple times, and yeah, you're right, that was a joke. Good. But we appreciate that. Students, what can I say? Without you, we wouldn't be the school we are. We wouldn't be the community we are, and we appreciate all your hard work. I'd like to give a special thanks to 3 or 4 people here. Kathy Allen is my secretary. She's done a lot of the typing, took a lot of reservations, did a lot of legwork. I'm just kind of the planning guy that just hung around, but she did a lot of the labor there, and I appreciate what she did. So Kathy Allen, I appreciate that. Wherever you're at, she's right here in front. I want to thank Diana and Clark Hadley. And for Clark here, this is really important. Clark was upset, I think, a little bit because of the serving thing. So I wanted to make sure that that was there. So I'll run that out to him.
I wanted lemons.
But I want to thank them for pictures. Diana devoted a great deal of time to the computer. She printed the certificates for us, and she just put in a lot of time and effort. She had a tremendous impact on the program, and we really appreciate what she's done. And as you can see, without a lot of people, this would not happen. This is just not a one-person event. It's several people working together. The last person I'd like to thank, believe it or not, and I think it's appropriate, Nick Brown. Nick is a student here. He's running the AV. And he's a young man who's an underclassman for us, but he's done a nice job in the AV department. He's our computer guru, I guess, technician type guy, but he's doing our videotape tonight, so I appreciate that. Nick, thank you. Well, we're at that point now where we really begin the program. I've got my thanks out of the way. And it's really time to begin. So swallow hard, students. Come up here and give it your best. The first person I want to recognize tonight, we're going to go alphabetical. You may want to follow in your program, is Marcy Allen. Marcy. The high school teacher is Ann Phillips, and her elementary middle school teacher was Bonnie Hughes. Marcy's been a member of Spotlighters, Finesse, Push, Unity, National Honor Society, AMMHS, Student Council, Tennis, Cross Country, and French Club. Her special awards include Best Performer in Genesis, second runner-up in the Optimist Speech Contest, Mental Attitude Award in Cross Country and Tennis, the French 2 Award, History Award in 1997 Prom Queen. She was also Student Council Vice President. Marcy plans to attend Butler University and major in chemistry or pharmacy. At this time, I'd like to introduce Marcy Allen.
Hard for me, but I'm going to go. Okay, I first want to acknowledge my grade school principal, Mr. Forster. He was the one who helped me get past first grade, actually. I was one of the youngest ones in first grade. I came from the Decatur schools, and I was behind kind of in reading, but he had faith and confidence in me that I could go on, so. He let me on pass because my first grade teacher wasn't sure if I was ready for it. So I wanted to thank him for that. I also had lots of grade school teachers that influenced me and gave me strength to keep going through grade school. But one special one that I remember in my mind was Mrs. Hughes. I was Actually, in grade school, I was always in the lowest reading group, but I was in the physical science club, so it didn't really matter to me. And she was just always there for me, giving me confidence. And I remember that she always made us write in cursive. And I'd always ask her why did I write in cursive? But that gave us discipline, I thought. But that day on, I always wrote in print. But I do appreciate that.
She still does.
But I do write neat, I think, so that's. Also, Mrs. Holbrook's here tonight, and she started me out on my music career. And I remember in first grade, I was the shortest, pretty much still am, but she let me be the one little duck with the feather on my back. Well, the other ones with their quack, quack, quack. I always will remember that. Also, throughout junior high, I had many teachers I thought of a lot. Mr. Barron, Mr. Gatt, Mrs. Hess, and Mr. McDaniel. They always meant a lot to me. And when I entered high school, I seemed to kind of be a completely different person. I always thought, especially after my dad died, I just changed and thought about what's important in life. And I thought what was important is leading others and being there for others and not going off and just goofing off all the time. But anyway, my freshman year, I was delighted to be chosen by Mr. Beebe to be in the Optimus speech contest. And my freshman year was kind of tough too. I struggled in algebra, but Mr. Davis got me through it. And Megan Schneider, she tutored me through it. So I always give thanks to Megan. She still helps me today. Hopefully I'm there to help her too. Even though she likes to do senior things during math. So Megan's a real positive leader. I'm glad I've always had her throughout the high school year. But anyways, Megan would always be there to help me out, and that was really special to me. My sophomore year, Mrs. Mobius for giving me the chance to be in the best show choirs, I believe, on the earth. Because it's in choir. Choir so many friendships that will last forever. It doesn't matter if you're like a sophomore or senior, you become best friends. And then Mrs. Bob, she always was there supporting me in Algebra 2 after my struggle through Algebra 1 and Mr. Johnson in geometry. It was a concept to be in Algebra 2 and geometry the same year because they're really both good teachers and they have different teaching concepts, and I just thought that was always positive. To always be learning different math ways from so many great math teachers. And then Mr. Bradshaw, I spent 2 years with him working for the prom my junior year, but also working with him as a sophomore. And that always meant a lot to me because I just was happy to be there to help out. And my junior year, sorry that I'm going through it, but I just felt like it's important. And Mrs. X, I always loved her chemistry class, and she always seems to be like really caring. And I felt but she's just always there for us, and I hope that for studying chemistry that all those things come back. I had Mrs. Stewart my junior year too, and she was always really special to me because I struggled again, but she was always there helping me. And then Mrs. Hatley, which is a challenge probably for her because I'm up here just glad I had a chance, and they had patience with me. But I've always enjoyed that first period. Throughout my junior year, I want to thank Mr. Adams for giving me the opportunity to go to the Senator Lugar seminar. I felt that was really positive to be asked to do that, especially the senator. That was really exciting. And then throughout my senior year, Mr. G, he's just been really wonderful, and I'll try to get over my bad habit, but I'll try to help others get over that habit. I don't know. And then Mrs. Yeager for suffering through our 7th period. I also want to thank Mrs. Gilly, because she's given me confidence just with who I am with tennis. It's just, I played tennis for 4 years, and I started off, I didn't even know how to swing the racket, but with Mrs. Gilly, she helped me a lot, and she gave me just my tennis abilities and the confidence within myself. And also, I thought she was a wonderful government teacher, because I did not know a thing about the government until and boy, I won't forget any of that, I think. And Mr. Graves, too. I felt bad that I didn't run my senior year, but it's just a tough sport. I want to thank Miss Henry for always being there for me, for always pushing me through the hard classes. But I didn't think I could do it, but I did. Finally, for Mrs. Phillips and Mr. Johnson, they both meant a lot to me throughout the years. Mrs. Phillips always gave me confidence to keep going whenever I was going through tough times this senior year with the scholarships and stuff. She would help me with my research paper. But she also helped me with my dad's scholarship. And then there's a story about Mr. Johnson. I was walking with his wife one day in 7th grade. I had no idea who she was. She's like, well, my husband teaches at the high school. I'm like, oh, okay. and then, lo and behold, I have 2 very good friends with both of them now. So that means a lot to me. I'll always cherish the years I had with you in student council, and being in student council with Mitch too. Always meant a lot to me. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. I also want to mention Kara Parker. She's been a really good friend to me. She's real close to the top 20, but she's always, I feel she's always worked hard and deserves, so I want to mention her tonight. And I want to mention my sisters because they're really special to me, and I hope I've always been a positive influence on both of them. And my dad and all the strength he gave me while he was alive. And finally, my mom. She's always been there for me. She's always been a step right with me. And it's amazing because she just, I mean, sometimes with my dad not being around, she always feels low on herself, but she just needs to know how wonderful she is. Because I wouldn't be anywhere or anything without her. So, even with the help of my teachers, she's the most special to me. And I want her to not always be there for her.
Well, as you can see, my job is to keep it going, and we're going to shift gears. And a couple of things. One is I've always been the shortest, Marcy, and I do not want to be known as the lone duck. Chuck the duck just doesn't quite Okay. Our next speaker today, this evening, is Jennifer Ash. And her high school teachers that she would like to recognize are Sue Stewart from the high school, and middle school elementary person would be Stacy Ayers. Jennifer Ash has been co-editor of Wagon Trails for 2 years and a member of National Honor Society, Orchestra, FCA Push, Volleyball, Basketball, Fringe Club, and Pairing and Caring. She will receive an honors diploma and has been listed in Who's Who among American high school students for 3 years. She will attend Butler University and major in pharmacy. This time I'd like to introduce Jennifer Ash.
Okay, I'm going to try to get through this without crying because I think Clark has challenged me right now. I'd like to start with Mrs. Ayers, who was my 5th grade teacher that I invited tonight. And when I had her, she was Miss Crow, so I'm going to refer to her as Miss Crow because that's how I know her. The first day I walked into 5th grade, I was really nervous. And it wasn't because it was a new school year or wondering if I'd be in the same class as my friends. But I was nervous because my teacher, as I walked in, was a towering 6 feet tall. And she was very intimidating to a short, scrawny little 5th grader. But all that changed in the first day. The first thing we did in 5th grade, we played this little name game to get to know everyone, and I still remember this. We had to go around and say our name with the letter repeating, and I remember Sarah was Smiling Sarah, and I can't remember what I was. I think I was Jumping Jennifer because not a whole lot of things rhyme with J. But we did a lot of fun things in 5th grade. We had a Pioneer Day when we all came dressed up in the Pioneer attire. And we spent the day playing games like, we husked corn. And we learned we didn't have desks that day, we also had stools. And it was lots of fun, even when we tried to get in trouble so we could wear the dunce cap or stick our nose in a circle on the blackboard. And I also remember we each had a country that we had to study and learn everything about. My country was India, and I'm proud to say that I can answer almost any Jeopardy question about India. She became more than a teacher. She became a friend. She took the guys to an Indians game, and the girls had a lock-in the gym. When we played dodgeball all night and ordered pizza, and we met who was to become the future husband, and we all thought it was really cute to see her little crush there bringing us pizza. And then I look eye to eye to her, but I've never stopped looking up to her. Okay, Clark, you're not going to win. Okay, my high school teacher was Mrs. Stewart. She was my math analysis teacher and my chemistry teacher. When I saw on my schedule that I was going to have her 2 times a day, I was really nervous because I thought, man, I better like her, and vice versa. I'll have to admit, it took a while to understand her sense of humor about growing up with the dinosaurs. But once I got to know her, she was really lots of fun. And I learned so much stuff in chemistry. And I think that's why I'm deciding to go into chemistry and into pharmacy. I'm going to get through this. I still remember the day that Eric, Beebe, and I went to see Broken Arrow at the movies. And we were so excited because we could understand all the things about nuclear. chemistry 2 class got to be we got to be one of the closest classes I've ever had. We were all friends in that class, and it was just a special class that I look forward to every day. And Mrs. Stewart, I could talk to her about anything. And I talked to her about college and SATs a lot, and what I was going to go into after high school. And I could just talk to her about anything. You could say any subject, and she could talk for hours about it. We would talk from like nuclear power plants to her dog that had his muscles growing faster than his bones. I don't know if she remembers that, but I do. So I just want to thank her. And there's also some more teachers here tonight that I want to recognize. Mrs. Fife, who encouraged and supported me in all my orchestra endeavors. And Mrs. Hadley, who still recognizes the fact that even high school kids like to have stickers on their papers sometimes. And Mrs. Yeager, who I don't think there's a better teacher or more fun teacher to TA for, even though she's the only one that I've ever TA for. And Mr. G, who I could talk to hours after school, probably longer than any of my other friends. And finally, I'd like to thank my mom and dad. You might win. I don't think that there's a better set of parents anymore. They rarely, if ever, missed a ball game or an orchestra concert. They've helped with everything from helping me learn to tie my shoes to learning my multiplication tables. And they even tried to help me write what I was going to say tonight. But I didn't let them. You might have thought that I ignored them, but I always valued their help. Even when they couldn't help me, like with physics, they would jokingly ask me if I still needed help. Their knowledge of physics and calculus was somewhat comical. But they always supported me in everything I did. The years of nagging to do my homework, pushing me, and then you're not giving up until May 31st speech may have annoyed me. Did it truly make me who I am today? Thanks, Mom and Dad. I love you.
Close enough.
Oh, yeah, I did come prepared.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. We have 2 Jennifers in a row. Jennifer Baker is our next speaker. Her high school teacher is Susan Wilcox. Elementary middle school teacher is Mary Kamenowski. Jennifer has been a member of concert band, pep band, and marching band, in addition to orchestra, key club, SED, French club, and a volunteer at Miller's Mary Manna. She is listed in Who's Who among American high school students and is a member of National Honor Society. She will attend IUPUI to prepare for a career in medicine. This time I'd like to introduce Jennifer Bates.
I would not be the person I am today without the support and encouragement of my parents and those special teachers I've had. My parents have always been there for me through everything. They've been there to encourage me when I've struggled and to cheer me up when I've been triumphant. I could not ask for a better mother. She's always had a confidence in me that I've sometimes lacked. My mother is my best friend. We've always had a special closeness that other mothers and daughters can envy. Many times, especially this year, she's stayed up all night with me to support me while I finished some project or paper, especially my research paper. And every morning she gets up with me and makes sure that I leave for school with a hug and a kiss and a good healthy breakfast. And because she trusts me so well and she's got such confidence in me, she gives me a lot of freedom that some other people have. And I'd like to acknowledge my second grade teacher, Mrs. Mikesell. I moved to Mooresville halfway through the second grade, and I was the new kid. She made me feel really special. I didn't know how to swim, so she made sure I got swimming lessons. She had her son's girlfriend give me some lessons. And Mrs. Ayers, she was a special teacher to me. She was my fifth grade teacher. And then I had Mrs. Komnowski for sixth grade. That was such a pleasure to have her. In elementary school, I was really shy and quiet, and I was a loner, and I had my head stuck in a book all the time. And I was so shy around my peers that I felt more comfortable talking to my teachers than them. And Mrs. Komnowski helped me gain more confidence in myself and grow so much of a person. She made me feel good about myself and made me feel that I could achieve all my dreams and goals. She's the reason why I held on to my dream of becoming a doctor, or I would have given up. I had Mrs. Graves as my music teacher in elementary school, and she was very special to me too. She's responsible for sparking my great interest in music. I was in the 5th and 6th grade choir, and I'll treasure those memories forever. And she's always had such a wonderful, positive attitude. She made everything fun, any activity. And she also helped me gain more confidence in myself. I don't forget anything. And Mr. Gatz sticks out in my mind in junior high. I had him for science, and I loved his class. He made it so fun. And I didn't have Mrs. Wilson as a teacher, but I was on the science academic team, and she helped me with that, and she was special to me. And then
mother. She's really special to me. And she's been there, Mrs. Wife's been there for me through all the years. Smile, encouragement, and special hug. And we've shared many tears and laughs together over the years. And she's lent me a sympathetic ear and a good shoulder to cry on. And she's given me a lot of wonderful advice and words of encouragement. And I know Mrs. White, I'm going to miss her hugs very much. And Miss Henry has helped me so much. She's my counselor. And I would have, without her, I would have probably chosen to go for some of the easier classes. But she told me that I could do it, that I could take the math classes, and math is my worst subject. I'm terrible in math. But she made me feel that I could do anything. And she had me take the chemistry too, and the other hard classes. And she, last year, she picked me to go to the IU medical school, medical center on a field trip, and we got to go into the hospitals and see operations and patients, and that was so wonderful. That meant the world to me, and thank you, Ms. Henry. That was very special. And Mrs. Wilcox, I had her this year for only one semester for psychology class, but she's also very special. I learned a great deal from her in her class. She helped me learn about myself and my strengths and weaknesses, and she made me feel more intelligent than I felt in a while. Boosted my self-confidence and made me feel like I can do anything I want. And I'm sure I've forgotten somebody, and I'm sorry if I have. But thank you all for the support and love you've given me over the years.
So I've come up with these one-liners, I have to say, I haven't missed too many healthy breakfasts, it's pretty obvious, I know. It's my way of dealing with the stress. Our next young man is Anthony Basso. His high school representative is Dale Graves. Elementary and middle school representative is Madeline Hessen. Anthony has been co-editor of the Pulse this year. He's also been in track, soccer, key club, choir, and a volunteer for Mooresville Public Library Children's Program. He attended the National Youth Leadership Forum on Medicine in San Francisco. He has won feature writing awards at the Indiana High School Journalism Institute and Media Marathon. He will attend Franklin College to major in biology and minor in journalism. He hopes to become a pediatrician. I would also like to thank him for his help on the program. He had a hand in this, and I wanted to publicly thank him for that. So thank you, Anthony. At this time, Anthony Basso.
About 5 years ago, I had the privilege of taking algebra as an 8th grader along with many of my peers. And I walked into the class one morning and saw this teacher, brightest smile on her face of any teacher I'd ever seen at that time. And as the year progressed, the class grew harder, and it wasn't just the mornings I was in there. It often drug into the afternoons. I would come back after school to get help or try to fit it in after track practice or before a meet or, you know. And she was always there, and that smile never faded, and that smile was always there. And by the end of the year, she gave me the distinguished honor of outstanding math student. Math is not all she taught me, and I'm sure Mr. Grosskreutz will attest to that. But I did gain a lot from her, and I guess a smile goes a long way. And it really helps to always be able to know that she was there for me, no matter what I needed. If it was just somebody to talk to, or if it was, struggling trying to memorize the quadratic formula, which I still have trouble with. This past year, I've had physics with Mr. Dale Graves, and I remember at the beginning of the year, when we got our textbooks, I thumbed through it and looked at the problems and just laughed. I knew there was no way it was ever going to make any sense at all. And Mr. Graves saw to it that I did understand what was going on. And he's also been there for me a great deal as a track coach. He's always been there to help me and cheer me up. I've always been my worst critic when it comes to stuff like that. And when I get down on myself, he's always there. There are a few other people I'd like to thank. Mr. McDaniel talked me into coming out for track in 7th grade before I even knew what a shot put or a discus was. Mr. Phil Gatz, my freshman year, I was having quite a bit of problems and doubted myself, and he set me back on track. And I appreciate that greatly. Mrs. Diana Hadley and Catherine Pascal. This year's been a memorable one for Pulse, and I appreciate both of you putting up with me. Mrs. Karen Yeager, I've tormented you every single day. And I'll definitely miss having somebody around to pick on that much. Tug on my ear for me when I do it. Mrs. Beth Henry, we butt heads quite a bit at the beginning of high school, and this past year particularly, she has helped me immensely and kept me on the straight and narrow. Randy Stafford, you've been a great friend to me, and I'm sure you'll be a great roommate next year. I look forward to it. David Moser, you as well, have been a really great friend to me. And finally, to my mother and my grandmother. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind at all whatsoever that I would not be here today if it were not for both of them. I don't just mean physically or literally, but the fact that about 12 years ago, when I started school, my mom vowed to herself to make sure that I was going to go to college, along with my brothers. And it's not been easy for her at all. Her and my grandmother both had to make tremendous sacrifices that I can only begin to imagine to make sure that I am where I am today. And I greatly appreciate that, and thank you both.
Thank you, Anthony. The next speaker here is Ms. Shanna Becker. Her high school teacher is Donna Drake. Elementary middle school is Monty Daniel. She is a member of marching band, pep band, concert band, German club, and her church choir. She is a recipient of the Robinson Memorial Scholarship Scholastic Award, German 2 Award, runner-up in Optimist Club Essay Contest, third place winner in the VFW Essay Contest. Shanna will attend IUPUI and major in German education. At this time, Shanna Becker.
Very nervous, but I guess I'll start with Mr. McDaniel. Mr. McD, when I was in 7th grade, I had him for gym, and I was always the kid that could never make the basketball, never could. And he held me after class one day and let me practice again and again and again and again. And finally I made it, and he's just taught me that if you keep at it and you keep at it and you keep at it, that you can do anything. Brown Drake. What can I say about Brown Drake? There's so much to say. she has been a wonderful teacher. I learned so many different things about German and about life and culture. I'm really going to miss her. She's a very wonderful person. It's always been fun to have her in Drum Club. You know, and do a lot of fun things. And, through the 4 years, I can say that I'm definitely not sick of your jokes. And your wardrobe is just fun. I guess I'd like to thank my brothers. We normally don't get along. And they've just been really wonderful and supportive. When you think that they're just trying to be a pain and everything, when you really need them, they're really there for you. And my mom and my dad, they have helped me with every problem that I've ever had. They've always been there for me, always back
Not yet, anyway.
Thank you, Shannon. Our next speaker is Mr. Eric Beebe. His high school teacher is Joyce Gilly. Elementary middle school representative would be Eva Moore. Eric is a member of the National Honor Society, Spotlighters, Track, Key Club, and the Wagon Trail staff. He will attend, no disrespect, Mr. G, but Harvard of the Midwest, Indiana State University, and a major in social studies and education. Mr. Eric Beebe.
I'm going to try to follow in Shannon's footsteps here. I don't think I can do it. With Marcy sitting that close to me here, it's going to be rough. Looking back at elementary school, I don't think I could say I ever had any more fun than I did in first grade with Mrs. Moore. And those of you who have been around the last few weeks know I like to have fun. 2 words came to mind when I was thinking about what to say about her. Spunk and charisma. She could make almost anything funny. Part of me thinks that we were in first grade and we just thought everything was funny, but I can see tonight that now that I'm in senior high school, she's still funny. So I think it is her. She can make a point, we'll always find any humorous way to do it. She was always in a good mood. That doesn't mean she didn't yell at me. She probably enjoyed that. But I don't think there was ever a day when she didn't have a smile on her face. She was also very challenging. I was a good speller at one time. She didn't feel that the spelling words in first grade were challenging me, so she thought she'd go to the encyclopedia and see if I could spell Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia. And writing them out about 100 times, I remember doing that, and I don't even know if she could spell them, but I had to. Probably one of the neatest things that I ever did that year, she really seemed to feel a special bond with our class. And she let us make our own little newscast. Mrs. Hadley probably wouldn't think it was good, but we tried. We used the Ghostbusters theme, made our little Room 9 news, and I got to be the weatherman. And she gave me some lines, and I went home, memorized those things. I was not going to forget those things for the world. There was one problem, though. I had to dress up nicely, and I had to wear some of my dad's clothes. The shirt happened to be about down to my ankles in the back. As you can see, I'm still not a great dresser. But if it were up to me, we'd all be in plain polos every day. So. But Mrs. Moore, even when I've seen her after being out of her class, I go back, she always gives me a hug. Every time I go to her classroom, the kids are having a ball. laying on those cushions while she's reading them a story. And I couldn't have thought of anybody else that I would have taken from elementary school. Being very interested in social studies, I thoroughly enjoyed Mrs. Gilly's government class. Not as much as sociology, but it was fun. Since it was only a semester class, I had an open period second semester, and she talked me into taking sociology. I wouldn't know anything about serial killers and their strange habits if I hadn't been there. It's kind of fun to go home and tell things at the dinner table and watch your mom and dad give you a dirty look and say, where are you learning that stuff? Haley. Yeah. They thought maybe I was choosing the wrong crowd of friends, and I think I was choosing the wrong teacher. But she told me tonight that after I come back, after I graduate, she can be even more raunchy in what she tells me. Definitely looking forward to that. One thing I loved about Miss Gilly's class is you always knew what you were going to get. The bell was going to ring. Within 5 seconds, she'd be standing in the back, drinking her coffee, saying, "Let's take some notes." The other 10% of the time, you'd either be taking a test or watching a movie, or she'd be telling you how she could keep you from graduating. The proper amount of words on your government report. She's definitely the most open-minded person I know. She calls herself a Republican, but I don't know. She condones about everything. She allowed for great discussions. She didn't always agree with the kids. I mean, that's probably a good thing. But she never told them they were wrong. She never said she was wrong. But she let us think we were right in our own way. I decided to try to be a government teacher, and it's mainly because of her, and she knows that. Just, if I am one, I hope I can be half as good as she is. I'll do things the same way. So, if any of your kids are going to go to Mooresville, hopefully I'm here. But I'll be teaching like Miss Gilly, so if you don't like that, you can find somewhere else to be. I had a lot of other teachers in high school I'd like to thank. Mrs. Yoke would be first. There she is. I was looking for the bright colors. No sequins tonight, though. Okay, earrings. Mrs. Yoke, I've had some conversations with Mrs. Yoke that I wouldn't have even had with her daughter Megan, and that's saying a whole lot. She's definitely got an opinion on everything, but most of the time it's the same one that I have. And I knew that this year when things weren't going right in some organizations, I could go to her. And she was there 100% of the time, always agreeing with me, and I thank her for that. Mrs. Yeager was kind of in the same boat. I thought her stupid little jokes were funny most of the time. I think Catherine and I were the only ones laughing a lot of the time. I'm going to miss Mrs. Yeager. I was scared to death of her the first day. I like the minor in math education, and that a lot goes to Mrs. Bothwell, Mrs. Stewart, Mr. G, who would have 3 extremely different ways of teaching stuff, and I like all 3 of them. Had Mrs. Bothwell for Algebra 2 my sophomore year, and I didn't have a lot of problems in that class, but she made me feel like I was really intelligent too, so that was exciting. Mrs. Stewart, I like the broken arrow story for that. Mrs. Stewart, she's another one I just thought was hilarious. And a lot of times I was the only one laughing. She's still funny. I walk down the hall and she'll have something funny to say in her own little way. But she would never crack a smile. I don't know if people knew she was joking. She'd just keep right on going. But, and Mr. G, even though he's not doing commencement this year, I think he means a lot to all the seniors. I don't know if he realizes just how much, but I hope you haven't made the calculus final app yet, too. We're not going to study for it after this, so we've only got 1 night left. I'm going to miss all of them. And I'm also going to miss Mr. Don Adams, who's been another one I've been really good friends with. His son, Mr. Adams, is another one I could always go to when things weren't going right. I'd like to thank Mrs. Mobius for putting me in spots. She often says Spots' big family, and this year I thought it was kind of a dysfunctional family. I wouldn't have given the opportunity back for anything. I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I've tried to be respectful most of the time. Now to my parents. My parents are two of the most genuine and caring people I know. Our family is one of the closest ones I know too. Others often ask me if we really get along that well if we just fake it well in public. I'd say it's kind of cool. One thing about our family is I don't think the five of us have ever been wrong. We don't ever agree on anything, but we're all right. So that kind of works out handy. Their secret has been that we all respect each other, and while you may disagree with another one, you got to show them respect. And even when, although Mom's never been wrong, even when I think she is, I have to respect her. And then maybe I can get my way. They've been there to give me a boost when I need it. My freshman and sophomore year, I still got good grades, but I could have done a lot better. And kind of wanted to be just a little above average. But they told me that I could excel. And I really needed that kick in the butt at the time. And they're good at that. While they are really supportive, they're still honest. Mrs. Bowies can tell you that. If Dad didn't think the show was good, he's not going to say it was good. But it only helps you get better if they're telling you what you do wrong. My dad's really not an emotional person, but you can tell when he's mad. You can tell when he's not. If he's shaking his head at you, then it's not good. But he's told me several times this year how proud he is. He's a lot of the reason why I'm going to be a teacher, and he's trying to be the reason I'm not going to be a teacher. But I think I'm going to try anyway. And I hope, although I may not be teaching English, I hope I'm half the teacher that he's been. My mom, on the other hand, can be very emotional. She did make it through Give Me Wings the other night. I made it through too. But she's the most supportive person I know. She'd go to bat for any of the three kids, no matter what we did. I'm really going to miss her next year. I'm going to miss our late night talks, laying up in bed saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do, help. She helped me hopefully pick the right college, and I hope someday I can be a quarter of the parents that they were, because they were awesome, and I'm going to miss them. And the road from Terre Haute to Mooresville is going to be pretty warm next year, either that or the phone lines. So I think I got everybody, and thanks to everyone, almost everyone in this room, it looks like, has helped me in some way. So that's about it. Thanks.
Well, Eric, I know you made the right choice, just like Sarah Beeler did. Sarah's our next speaker. Her high school teacher is Miss Kathy Bothwell. Elementary and middle school teacher would be Miss Sue Flynn. Sarah's a member of Spotlighters, Jazz Ensemble, Marching Band, Symphonic Band, Tech Band, National Honor Society, and her youth group. She, once again, has decided to accept the academic challenge of attending Indiana State University and major in pharmacy. I graduated from Indiana State. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Sarah Beeler.
There are so many people here tonight that I want to thank. I want to start out with thanking Mrs. Myers, my first grade teacher. She went through a lot. She had to comfort me every day because I cried every day at school for like the first couple of weeks that I was there because I thought everybody had friends but me. But it didn't take me long to start talking to people, and I haven't shut up since. And then my second grade teacher, Mrs. Flynn, which is who's here with me tonight, know where to start about her. She was just great. She was always helping me with everything. She was just an all-around great person. I don't know, she always had a smile on her face, and she was just a friend, which is a lot of times what a second grader needs. Then Miss Crow, the 10-foot tall woman. I was so scared. But I really liked her. She was a good teacher. Then I moved on to junior high, and that was a really big change. I'll never forget Mr. Gatz taped me and Angela active together. He taped our arms and legs together and made us do our homework that way. Pretty challenging, but but we did it. Then I moved on to high school, and anyone who had me in math before then knows that I'm not exactly gifted with the math genes. My parents gave all those to my brothers. But Mrs. Bothwell was always there. She always said that she'd stay after school and help me with my algebra that I always have problems with. And she always took the time to understand, or to make me understand things, which I know wasn't always easy. But both of these teachers were really special to me, and I like to thank them for helping me be the person that I am. Also, I want to thank Mrs. Yoke because I've known her forever, and I look forward to the time that I would have her for a teacher, and I really enjoyed her class. And also Mrs. Jaeger because, bright clothes, they go hand in hand, which is great. I also want to thank the guidance department, not only Miss Henry, but Mr. Havens and Mr. Hill, because I work in the guidance office, and oh boy, that's sort of it's a whole different story. Anyways, I'd like to thank Miss Fanning. She's one of the greatest teachers I've ever had, and I know that the Mooresville Music Department will definitely be lacking next year now that she's leaving. And I want to thank you for pushing me through a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't have gone through. Not mentioning any names. Anyways, I have a ton of friends that I'm really happy I've made. And I don't know. I think Mr. and Mrs. Beebe are probably two of the greatest friends that I've had this year, especially putting up with late night physics sessions and choreography in the kitchen. Also, Ms. Gilly, I was really dreading government, and I can honestly say that I've learned a lot in there, and I really appreciate you being as good of a teacher as you are. And even though 5 seconds are left and taking notes, then, that's okay. Most importantly, I want to thank my parents because they always sent the message at home that learning was important, and they always pushed me. Didn't matter, if I didn't like the teacher too bad, you just sort of deal with it and go on. But I think the main reason why I'm here tonight is because they took the time to love me, and I'm not gonna cry. They took the time to love me and push me on to things that they knew I should be doing, like physics and calculus, and I really appreciate that, and I love them very much, and I just thank you for everything you've done.
Our next speaker is Mr. Mitchell Boyd. His high school representative is Mrs. Lane Mobius. Elementary and middle school teacher, Mr. Philip Getz. Mitch has been a member of the tennis team, AM, MHS Spotlighters, National Honor Society, in the First United Methodist Church. In Tennessee, has been MVP and honorable mention All-State, in addition to receiving awards for mental attitude and outstanding season. He's also been outstanding performer for Spotlighters. He's been prom prince and this year prom king. Mitch will attend Indiana University next year. Mitch Ford.
I think Mr. Musk and Marcy are getting a little too much credit for being the shortest. They're getting sadly a little bit of credit here. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Graves and Mr. G and Mrs. Yeager for seeing to it that I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this speech. No, Mooresville's lucky to have great teachers and great administrators, and we're not only here tonight to recognize the top students, but we're here to recognize the top teachers too, and that's why you're all here. Two of my guests tonight have had a big impact on me as a student and as a person. And the first of these is Mr. Phil Gatz, who is my 7th grade science teacher. And there's two things that I remember most about Mr. Gatz's class. One is the free reading notebook you had to bring to class every day and have every sheet, every homework sheet, every test, everything for the whole semester in that notebook. I had to bring it every day. And the second thing is, and you guys might not understand this, but he will, kids pound cans of fruit at garage sales. That's Kingdom Filing Class Order, Family Genius Pieces. The classification of all living things. No, but those two memories are a little bit trivial, but they're learning techniques, and it's organization and association, and it helped me then, and it's helped me all the way through high school. It's been a pleasure getting to know Mr. Gatz and his family through school and church, and he's a great teacher, he's a great person, and he's a great Christian. That's Mr. Gatz. My next teacher is Mrs. Mobius, and I guess I kind of got a little bit of slack for taking a music teacher to the top 20 bank because everyone's like, choir, easy A, right? Well, it's an easy A, but a lot behind that. I learned a lot more than what can be taught in a classroom from Mrs. Mobius. She's watched, our family's been involved with Spotlighters for a lot of years now, and she's gotten the chance to watch me grow up musically and physically and emotionally. And one thing about Mrs. Mobius is she really gets to know her students on a personal level. She cares about each one of them, and just as an example, I walk in her 7th period homeroom, and these are kids that aren't even in choir, and she's counseling each one of them on why they have bad grades. We're close with Mrs. Mobius. A lot of us call her mom because we're with her so many times, all the time in practice and in class, and hanging out in her office when she probably be in her real classes. There's a lot I could say about Mrs. Mobius, but I chose to read this poem for her that she will recognize. For the common things of every day, God gave man speech in a common way. For the deeper things men think and feel, God gave the poet words to reveal. But for the heights and depths that know no reach, God gave man music, the soul's own speech. And so Mrs. Mobius, I just want to say thank you for the music. Thank you for your friendship. I have a lot of other people I want to thank tonight, and a lot of them are out here. I've been listening to people out here speak, and I'm just keep adding people to my list that I'm supposed to thank, so I don't forget anybody. I think Mrs. Holbrook's here, and she's the one that started me out in music. Mrs. Newman, who pointed out that she was my very first teacher in Mooresville when we moved here. And don't see her, she's got some pretty incriminating pictures of us. And she's right there. I want to thank Mr. Mustin and Mr. Oberholzer. I want to thank Marcy and Camille and Aaron for helping my calculus and physics homework. And I want to thank Marcy and Mr. Johnson for helping me through last year. It meant a lot to me. I want to thank Mr. G for always keeping me on my toes and I just want you to know, Mr. G, that I won't be the pizza delivery boy that you're kicking off your doorstep because I'm going to IU. I want to thank Mrs. Jaeger. I really do hope you get your Ziggies back someday. I don't have any. And I was always laughing inside at those little jokes you made. No, didn't show it, but I also want to thank Miss Gilly and Mrs. Crawford for their help. They're always really good motivators. I mean, we all played a lot of tennis, and I'm not sure that they never tried to tell us that we didn't know a lot about tennis. They just were there to motivate us, and they did a really good job. I want to thank Mr. Bradshaw for everything, for his help on the prom. I want to thank Mrs. Henry for not kicking me out of Honor Society when I slept through those meetings. I want to thank Mrs. Yoke, and I want to thank my friends, Aaron, Nick, and Steve, for everything, and their families. And I want to thank my brother. Yeah, he's not here tonight, but I want to thank him for being my older brother and my role model, and for being my best friend. And I want to thank my parents for all their love and support. They've been in every tennis match, every spotlight or competition, and they've been parents to a lot more than just me. I think that's about everybody. If I forgot you, I'm sorry, but.
Mr. Rowe, don't worry about that classroom thing. In her office, let's forget about that. Sorry about that, Ms. Clayton. Our next speaker is Mr. Scott Johnson. His high school teacher is Amy Fanning. Middle school elementary person is Wanda Stanley. Scott has been a member of symphonic band, Hot Spots, which is Spotlighter Band, pep band, jazz band, National Honor Society, push, basketball, and who's who among American high school students. He's also been named Outstanding Spanish Student, Outstanding Math Student, Band President, Drum Major, and a Hobby Ambassador. He will represent his class as valedictorian. He will attend DePaul University to prepare for a career in teaching and/or sports medicine. At this time, I'd like to introduce Scott Johnson.
My mom has been asking me all day if I'm going to be nervous about this, and up till now I haven't been, but now I am. Somebody else also asked me today if my voice was going to crack. I can pretty much guarantee it will sometime, so just kind of let it happen. When Mr. Mustard told us that we were going to have to explain why our teachers mean so much to us, I just kind of started thinking about it. And for a person who can't really express his feelings real well anyway, that was kind of a challenge to me. But I got to thinking about it, and I thought that a great teacher doesn't have one or two different things about them. It's a million different things rolled up into one. And each of my teachers have done that. It started in third grade with the teacher, Mrs. Stanley. She always had this way about her of making everybody feel special, important, like they had a place in this world. It was either through compliments or just like a simple hug or a smile. And Eric was making fun of me the other day about this. I was the guy who had the honor of making computer things, like banners and all this wonderful stuff, and she made me make this sign, change causes change causes change. That might be another cause of, see, there you go. There might be another cause of change in there somewhere. But I can remember Eric always making fun of me because I was the guy who had to mess with the computer. And it was more than just mess with the computer, it was her way of letting me feel special. And I will always be grateful for that. She took a boy who was kind of mediocre and kind of down on himself and gave him a push and helped me become what I am today. In high school, Miss Fanning, what can I say? She has been the person I will always remember, especially after this year because of all the pressures that come with drum major and all that stuff. I mean, there are so many things that she understood before I could even go to her and talk to her about it. And when I did, she always had an answer for me. She was the shoulder I cried on. She was the beanbag sometimes I wanted to hit. But she was always there for me. And I thank you for that. Finally, to the two most important teachers any student can ever have. That's the parents. I mean, what can I say? They've been there for everything. You guys can't cry because I'm not going to cry. Especially Mom. I can remember the day my dad took my training wheels off my bike. And he wouldn't let me stop any time I would fall. He'd always try to make me do it again. And I remember when he'd take us fishing, I can remember everything he's helped me do, even though I don't have to tell him I remember. But I remember, Mom, you've been there from the bumps on the knees, the scrapes, to the heartache, to all the happy times of crying. And even though it seems like I don't appreciate it, I know I don't always express it because I'm so busy doing other things, that I have let them go aside, and I don't ever mean to do that because you are the two most influential people in my life. And I hope that someday I will be just like you guys. Thanks.
Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Aaron Kitchens. His high school teacher is Mr. Robert Grosskreutz, and elementary and middle school representative Mrs. Marilyn Hammonds. Aaron has been a member of Spotlighters, Tennis, AM, MHS, and Student Council, and also class treasurer. He has attended Purdue seminars for top engineering prospects, Hoosier Boys State, and the National Youth Leadership Forum in Madison. He's listed in Who's Who among American high school students. He will study electrical engineering or physics and minor in computer science at Rose-Hulman. This time I'd like to introduce Mr. Aaron Kitchens.
I'd like to start off talking about my third grade teacher, Mrs. Hammonds. Not only did she have me as a student, but she also had my sister, Diane. And she probably knew the right between us. One of the things I remember mostly about Mrs. Hammonds is that she used to have me go up against 5th graders and 6th graders in math races to help me with my confidence in mathematics. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. And I also remember the green elves that we could dress up as at the point of those shoes. And she was constantly challenging. She was always pushing me to excel, but never too hard to where I'd fall. She had a way of making students feel like they weren't little kids, and at the same time, when you needed her, she could help you. I'll never forget her for a long time. She's the one that started my career as being a student. She's just always been there. She's a great teacher and still a great friend. My other guest was Mr. Grosskreutz, affectionately called Mr. G. Anyone that's in class with me in calculus knows that Mr. G is probably harder on me than any other calculus student he has. And that's for 2 reasons. 1, so I'll achieve perfection, and 2, to probably spite me a little bit. I don't know if I have a better friend in high school than Mr. G. I feel like I could talk to him about anything. We're going to miss him immensely. But I don't know if, like Eric said, if he realizes how special he is to us seniors. Lastly, I'd like to talk about my parents. I remember back in the days when my dad would take me hunting and fishing, teach me about the fundamentals, how to act. And my mom always being there to comfort me when I messed up. I realize sometimes I have made wrong decisions and strayed off the right path, but my parents have been there to reprimand me and help me get back on the right way. I know that they're taking another risk by paying for my college. They do almost anything for me. They'd probably jump through hoops if I asked. Well, almost anything. I'd also like to thank all the teachers at Mooresville. I know I've had my conflicts with a few, but I know they've always been there to support and encourage me. And Mrs. Jacobs, by the way, I know who has your secrets. And lastly, I'd like to close with a quote my late grandfather used to say. He used to say that you should live your life like someone's writing a note about you. Now, I realize some chapters of my life would probably be a horror story, but I hope it would end with a happy ending. And I feel like the MHS Falcon has helped to go towards that goal. Thank you.
I'd like to go back and speak. I want to thank Scott, our valedictorian, for correcting me on this Hobie ambassador thing. You know, for a dumb coach and a math teacher type guy. Okay, I'm sorry. Gosh. Be careful. Our next speaker is Ms. Tracy Marini. Her high school teacher is Mr. Joel Beebe. Elementary and middle school teacher, Ms. Janice Svensson. Tracy has been a member of Spotlighters, Finesse Sad, Push, French Club, Cadet Teaching, and her church youth group. She received the French 1 Award and is a member of National Honor Society. She will attend Indiana State University, major in elementary education. At this time, Ms. Tracy Marie.
He always would bring pictures of his girlfriends and everything, and we'd always be so jealous because we had crushes on him. All of his girls did. And
never had her in class, but I'm cadet teacher for her, and I was almost 100% sure that I would be an elementary teacher, but she's knocked me into 100% sure. And the experience I've had with those kids, I'll never forget. It's a lifetime experience. And even the first day I walked in there, I was kind of nervous, and she left me. I was there by myself with all the kids, and the first few minutes, and I was reading them a story, and I really appreciated that she trusted me enough with the kids even the first day to be with them by myself, and the whole experience has been very encouraging. And now I want to go to junior high. Mr. Gatz, I don't know if he remembers me, but I loved him so much, and every time I saw him, anytime since, there was a lot of memories that come up. And I remember when he told us about a story that he threw his cat in the basement because it flooded or something. I told my dad that, and my dad just cracked up, and then he told me that he was gonna rent a convertible or something for his daughter when she turned 16, and then take it away a few days later. So she could have a car, and I thought that was cool, and I didn't hesitate to tell her. And then everything he did to everybody, he made teaching. I mean, he was a fun teacher, and he made learning very fun. And I appreciate that. And Mr. McDaniel, I loved him so much. He was like a big teddy bear. You could always just go up to him and just give him a hug. And I remember one day he told us about a pop quiz, and I acted like I was so mad at him, and he was so scared he went to talk to my brother and asked if I was really mad at him, but I wasn't. I promise. I love him. And also, Mr. and Mrs. Kaserman. When I walked in, I think it was my 7th grade year for math, I saw Mrs. Kaserman, and I was kind of scared because she had this really strong voice and everything, but she made me want to learn about math, because ever since then, it's a struggle, but she helped me through it. And Mr. Kaserman, he was our shop teacher, and I was scared of every single one of those machines. And I followed him, but he didn't make me do most of them because I was too scared. So I would try them, and then I'd follow him like a little puppy dog until he found one that I finally wasn't scared of. And then in high school, I had lots of teachers that helped me then, but Mr. Graves this year for physics, he's not here. He wasn't able to be here tonight because of track, and I'm sure a lot of the students in here probably would have picked him. But he's really helped me. Physics is very hard for me, like a lot of things. I have to work hard to do stuff that you have to think at. I like the stuff that doesn't require thinking. And Mr. Graves for physics is a very big struggle for me, and I've gotten some bad grades on tests, but he kind of tutors me sometimes, and I've gotten some A's, and he's really encouraged me to stay in it, because I almost quit, but I didn't. And also, I'd like to say stuff about Mrs. Yoke. What can anybody say about her? She's just the brightest person. Not only her clothes, but her personality also. She always has a smile, and she always knows how to cheer you up if you're down. And I want to thank Mrs. Mobius, because ever since I was little, and I saw Maureen Weber and Angela Schillings up there, they were both my favorite ones, and spotlighters. I always knew I wanted to be a spotlighter, and I made it this year. It's been a dream of mine, and I thank you for that. And Mr. G. He reminds me every day how I'm probably the ditziest person in high school. And he asks me how I'm going to ever survive next year without my mom or anybody else helping to keep me in line. And I'm not really sure, so I might have to get your phone number and call you. But he's really cared about me, not only in school, but with other things. And I appreciate him. And also, I'd like to thank Mrs. Yeager this year with comp and lit. It's been quite an experience because I haven't really been interested in writing. I mean, I like writing my style instead of what they tell me to write. But the research paper, when I was finished, everybody would just laugh at me because I went up to the complete strangers and just yelled, "I'm done." And they had no idea what I was talking about, but I screamed that about hundreds of times the day we were done. And I'd like to talk about Mr. Beebe. I also never had him as a teacher, or I never was in his class. But he influences me majorly. I don't think he realizes it. Even before I knew him personally, he influenced me just by his encouraging words to people. And he came to Finesse one time when we won or did well or something. And he encouraged and made everyone feel very special. And he's good about that. He makes everybody feel special. He's always there when I need him. And he's always there when I'm trying to open my locker and he tries to mess me up by yelling at other numbers. But he's always there for me. And now I'd like to talk about my parents. I'm not going to cry. My mom, she writes so many letters since I come in the back of my speech. There's a note, tell me good luck and everything that she wrote when people were talking. And she always is there. She writes me letters and she's always there encouraging. She types a lot of my compositions, but Ms. Yeager and Ms. Fielk, you don't know that. And she's really helped me out a lot. I know I would not be where I am today without her because I probably wouldn't have got a lot of things done. She's also encouraged me when I'm scared to do a lot of things and I'm always nervous about things. And she's encouraged me to go on with it and she gives me strength. And my dad, no, he probably doesn't know it, but when I was in 6th grade, I wrote a thing about him because he's my hero, and he still is. I don't know if he knows that, but he means a lot to me, and we sang together and everything at church. And even though we struggle about it because I don't like to sing by myself, he's always been there for me, and he'll always be my hero. And I love him very much. And my parents are the best teachers there are, and I wouldn't be anywhere without them. Thank you.
Mr. Tracy. Our next speaker is Mr. David Moser. David's high school teacher is Mrs. Kimberly Zook. Elementary and middle school teacher, Mr. Carol Foltz. David has been a member of Wagon Trail staff, prom steering committee, wrestling, key club, 1x1 German club, and choir. He is an Eagle Scout, Boy State delegate, and a black belt and state champion in martial arts. He has also served as a martial arts instructor and is listed at Who's Who among American high school students. David will attend Lewis Holman in major in mechanical engineering. This time, I introduce David Moser.
I'm not real sure where to start because there's so many people I can thank. It's 18 years that I've been around, and I've had a lot of opportunities, and I've gotten to know an awful lot of people. And from virtually every single person, I've learned an awful lot. There's a few people who just stand out, they just make an incredible difference on your life. And first one of those would be my first grade reading teacher, Mrs. Foltz. I've heard a lot of people say that every guy always falls in love with their first grade teacher. I'm pretty sure that's true, but luckily enough, I had a first grade teacher who was worth falling in love with. So I never was very good at reading. I was, but I had trouble with it. It wasn't exactly my forte, but she made reading fun for me. I'll always remember that. I went back there the other day to invite her to this banquet, and I wasn't sure if I was going to remember her or not, but when I saw that smile, there's just no way I could forget it, and I'll never forget her. My high school teacher is Mrs. Zook. She taught me chemistry, but she taught me a lot more than just chemistry. I was the TA with her, and we had a lot of talks and stuff. And although I probably don't remember any of the chemistry anymore, I remember the talks with her and stuff, and she taught me an awful lot, just generally in life. And, there's a lot of other people I'd like to thank too. Just all the friends. Actually, like about every single student here that's here tonight has influenced me in some way or another. They're all really good friends, and I thank them for that. I want to thank my martial arts instructor, who's just made like the biggest impact on me you could ever possibly believe. He's like my second dad. And I want to thank my parents. Sometimes we don't always get along perfectly, not like storybook, but I love them, and they've always been there for me. And just thank you. They've made a lot of sacrifices that I can't even dream about, but they've always been there. They've always been kind of tough on me, though. I remember when I was learning to ride a bike, they wouldn't let me have training wheels. So. It all worked out in the end, though. I want to thank kind of my sisters. My older sister and I used to bicker a lot, but once she went off to college, then we get along really good now. I also want to thank a lot of the teachers in here. I was sure after Boys State that I was just going to hate government, but Mrs. Gilly made it really fun. So, I want to thank all the math teachers. Math is my forte. It's what I'm good at, but I still struggle a lot of times. I want to thank all the people like Mr. G. I also want to thank my English teachers, because I've had a lot of really, really good English teachers. Mrs. Hadley, I've been with her for 3 years now, 3 or 4 years. I've been with her in a lot of classes. Mr. Bradshaw's class was really fun. Mrs. Yokes was great. I learned a lot about myself in there. And of course, Mrs. Yeager. You never forget her. I've given her one of her Ziggy's back, but I know I'm probably forgetting a lot of people, but I just want to thank everybody.
I've been co-editor of The Pulse and a karate instructor at Adamson's Karate School. She has also been a member of One by One Bible Study, National Honor Society. She was president of Key Club, Caring and Caring, Push, Unity, French Club, and her church youth group. She was 1995-96 AAU National Karate Champion and winner of the BFW essay contest. She will attend Anderson University and major in communications and minor in Christian ministries. At this time, I introduce Ms. Kathy Pastor.
I want to start off with thanking my speech teacher, Mrs. Casson, for teaching me to stand with my feet firmly planted when I give speech and how to use my hands so I'm not quite as, staying still. So, over my life, has been influenced and affected by very many people. Many of them are here this evening. And I just want to start with my second grade teacher, Mrs. Newman. At a time when it's very easy for kids to learn to dislike school, Mrs. Newman taught me how second grade could be fun. She had in her room a huge reading house. It must have taken up like half the back of her room. And when we were done with our schoolwork, we were allowed to take our book and go climb up in the reading house with the pillows and the stuffed animals and read. And I think that was really important to me because I learned to enjoy reading. That made a big difference in my life. I also remember in second grade, we would have, when we practiced our spelling words, sometimes she would spray shaving cream all over her desk, and we would rub it all around, and then she'd say a word, and we'd have to spell it, and then we'd rub it all out, and then she'd say another word, and we'd spell it. Sometimes I think she was just wanting to clean our desks, but we had to practice spelling words, so. Second grade, they tested my eyesight, and my vision wasn't bad, but I had an astigmatism, and they told me that I needed to get glasses. And second grade, that was not cool at all. I hated it. I did not want to get them at all. And Mrs. Newman told me that just to make me feel better, she would wear her glasses when we had reading group, just that I didn't feel awkward and uncomfortable because I was the only kid in the class with glasses. And she does have those incriminating pictures of Mitch and Matt and who else? Oh, Randy. If anybody wants to see them as little Indian boys, they're awfully cute. I also want to thank Mrs. Jaeger for being such an awesome teacher. Never before this year have I actually enjoyed reading Shakespeare. Thanks to Mrs. Jaeger, I had fun reading Macbeth. I was an awesome reading Macbeth, thank you. And that I was in the toys that she took away. And for pushing me and for telling my guidance counselor when I was slacking off. Mr. G says he didn't do that. We only have 6 days left. I thank Mrs. Hadley for supporting me all year long and for keeping me from throwing exactly nice at Anthony. And Anthony, by the way, it's x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I thank Mrs. Yod for making me think and be creative and teaching me that there's a lot more to life than there's a lot more to literature and composition than just reading. It's a lot deeper than that. And for teaching me that it's okay to walk to the beat of a different drummer. Even though I hated that book, and I probably would never ever read it again, I never even want to think about it again. Thanks for teaching me that. I want to thank Mr. Grace, even though he's not here tonight. He told Steve Hoffman and I that we would not graduate without knowing the periodic table. And I don't quite
really know where to begin either. I really, my first grade teacher, Mrs. Beaumont, was from Illinois, where I used to live. She really started my love of school and is the reason why I wanted to calculus.
Mr. Byers, he's not here tonight, but he's been my soccer coach since I was in 7th grade. I'm really going to miss being coached by him. And Mr. Beebe, my track coach, he's really encouraged me to go far. I made it to regionals last year,